Your media, where you are.
Good morning. Good morning. This is a Plant Power with Mawethu. We've got Herman Kruger, whole foods plant-based food producer and the owner of the Part-Time Vegan. Welcome to the show. How are you, Herman?
Thank you very much, mawethu. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Nice for you to have me here. I'm really appreciating it and really appreciate the opportunity.
Perfect. It's been a while, eh?
It has been a while. I haven't seen you in a while. So you're looking fit. You're looking good. So well done.
Thank you very much. Tell us a bit about how you've been.
Yeah, been all right. With obviously with COVID and the lockdown, things have started slowing down initially. But since we're in a very niche market, which is a very upcoming market, we actually have been moving around. We actually conducted quite a bit of business. So, yeah, there was a bit of a lull in the beginning, but we're starting to increase our business, thankfully.
No, that's great stuff, Herman. So you are a whole foods plant-based producer. Before we get to how the actual day-to-day running of the business, but how did this come about? Tell us a bit about your background, who Herman is, and then up to where Herman finds himself today.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm 29 years old, so getting into my 50s. Been studying. I was studied teaching, so I'm a teacher, also a public relations practitioner, and always ran my own businesses for a good last 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
Realizing that if you're not going to conduct or run your own business, you're not really going to have any influence of what you have or what influence you have out there. So I was a personal trainer before we actually started the Part-Time Vegan for 12 years. So I've been torturing people for a living, best thing in the world. But also realized that I need to move on, and the business started stagnating. So being vegan, the obvious thing is food. Everybody has to eat, and everybody there's an immense awakening of plant power and plant-based eating. So I started going into the business as usual. Started in my kitchen, selling meals on a daily basis, lunches and suppers, for example. Driving around like crazy, delivering food. If I'm not doing that, I'm training people in the same time, and then I'm still making food again, taking orders and whatever. And then we realized that the Part-Time Vegan, the company that I created, there is a definite market. There is a definite need for the Part-Time Vegan and plant-based food. Yeah. So we registered the company 2.5 years ago, calling the Part-Time Vegan. And a lot of people ask me what's the name, why the Part-Time Vegan?
Yes, and I always say, not the full-time, eh?
That's it. Not everybody's perfect. So that's what I always say, tongue in cheek. But not everybody. I'll tell you what, you can call yourself a vegan, but you are still a part-time vegan on so many levels.
No, for sure.
And it also allows people who is not vegan to eat partially plant-based diets. Okay. Yeah. So what we've done is we actually started developing a whole range of products for the Part-Time Vegan itself, including burger patties, which is our traditional and our very famous square patties. We have a square patty. Don't ask me why, but we like to do things a little bit differently. And then other things as well. We actually started making sausage rolls as well as some ready-made meals and things like that.
Yeah.
Then we started developing and discovering another phase of our business, which is then called InstaProtein. So we're probably going to talk about that. Yeah. So for a good year and 4-5 months, we've actually been really focusing on InstaProtein, incorporating InstaProtein into the Part-Time Vegan itself, also incorporating InstaProtein into our meals that we're already making, so that we can actually up the protein level of our food. Because as we know, we have a protein issue. I mean, everybody, I mean, non-vegans and vegans know that we don't have an issue with protein.
Of course, yeah.
But it is the non-vegans that goes, oh my goodness, where are you getting your protein from? Are you we are waiting for you to have protein deficiency and fall over or something.
And die of it.
And die of it. That's correct, yes. But in saying that, the answer still lies with plant-based eating.
Yeah.
And that's the story, basically.
Okay, cool. Perfect. I'm just going to ask you a very interesting question. And then when you were still a part-time trainer
Yes.
and venturing into this, did you have vegan clients?
I haven't had any vegan clients, but I knew of vegan clients that is actually at the gym. So we actually had quite a bit of conversations, and these people actually now became quite good friends of mine. And we had very good conversations where I started asking questions pertaining nutrition, because a great part of personal training pertains to nutrition.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been forced to go protein, chicken breast the whole time, because it's the highest protein, etc., which we found was not true, to be honest. And I started just doing a little bit of research in terms of what needs to be done to get a balanced diet as a vegan or a plant-based eater, instead of only a high protein loaded meal every single day. Because we don't only need protein, but we need all the micronutrients and everything else that goes along with that as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So but I'm sure you actually probably received this with a great, should have been great interest, because I mean, you're a fit guy, you're a fitness instructor, and you're vegan. I mean, the stereotypes around that, it's this guy does not eat meat. How is it going to help me stay fit, build muscle?
Well, first of all, I've never told anybody that I'm vegan, because I mean, one of the things is I don't need the ridicule of all these big burly guys walking around with their steroids in their body and eating animal. So I only divulged the fact that I was vegan to close friends and to people that I knew.
Yeah.
And first of all, I mean, me being vegan, the first person to do experimenting on is myself. Right. So I started eating a plant-based diet and started training to have a look and see what my energy levels was, to have a look and see what, if I am becoming anemic, what my blood pressure and things like that is. So actually, I took some interest in myself with regards to what I eat and how I eat and what the results will be when I actually am on a plant-based diet. My wife, for example, as well, she's also majority of her time, 98% on a plant-based diet. She's still training quite hard. She's also a personal trainer. And I'll tell you what, the results with her was just absolutely phenomenal. And that has given me the confirmation that what we are doing in terms of nutrition is 100% on par.
Great stuff. Now, in terms of family relations, and I mean, we usually do not have people around us who are vegan. Is this something from home, or is it something that you just like me met along the way?
That's correct. Yes. Oh goodness, no! You cannot. I mean, if I tell my family that I'm vegan, I'm probably going to be ousted even further. So yeah, no, goodness gracious, no! I don't get invited to family parties either, because I mean, I have no idea why not. But this is something for myself. This is something that I feel very personal about. And especially with regards to the environment, with regards to animals, and with regards to the whole holistic approach of what veganism is. That's why I always say there's a distinction between plant-based eating and veganism, because veganism is a lifestyle. Plant-based eating is your diet only.
Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't just inspired by wanting to be healthy. No. It had a lot of, because with me, it was about a healthy lifestyle. But I think there's also evolution in this journey. I started realizing that there's an environmental impact part of it.
Correct.
That I think we need to touch on. For instance, I came across a stat that said there's about 77 billion animals that are slaughtered annually, right? Now you've got just under 8 billion human beings, and almost a billion of those human beings are living in world hunger. Now, the deforestation, one that impacts the planet, is another issue. But number two, a halving or maybe a third, cutting, if you cut animal agriculture to just a third of it, you could actually solve world hunger overnight, because
Correct.
the amount of resources, water put into feeding those 77 billion animals that need to be slaughtered annually could actually just be used, one, to save the planet and not have to deforest, the planet. You save a lot of water. You'd have no waste that comes from your factories, and then you would actually minimize the likelihood of pandemics.
Yes.
So my journey moved from the whole health aspect of it to saying, okay, no, but I was in it for the health part of it. Then you start realizing the animal cruelty. You just become a different human being altogether.
Correct.
Yeah. So that you view food differently, but you just have a different outlook on life.
I totally agree on that. Yeah. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
And it makes us more aware of things around us. It actually makes us more appreciative of what we have.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make any sense to me that we actually grow plants to feed animals so that we can kill them and eat them. This just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, that just, for example, I'll give you an example. To rear 1 kilogram of beef takes 5,000 liters of water. That's not a animal, that's only a kilogram of that animal.
Yeah.
Potatoes, 500 liters.
Yeah.
Okay, so look at the difference in terms of our water resources. How we can actually change our water resources to growing plants instead of having to raise animals.
Yeah.
And then what you said was absolutely true. Then using land, the land just becomes unusable. It becomes a wasteland of space that nobody would ever be able to use again.
No, definitely. I mean, I once came across work by Charles Darwin where he talks about the laws of nature, where in the context of animals, it's animals having to survive by making sure that the carnivores don't eat them. But in the context of human beings, the laws of nature actually has a lot to do with viruses.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at pandemics, are as a result of a lot of them, if not 90%, are as a result of animal agriculture.
Absolutely.
Because viruses are part of microorganisms that actually are quarantined away in nature. Now we bring that close to us, and then that's why they have to now live within us. I mean, it could be avoided. It's an avoidable situation. Yeah.
Just what you say makes me afraid. Just listen to what you're saying.
Yeah.
If we are eliminating animal consumption, those viruses will also be eliminated. Okay, that is a fact. Plants has never given anybody COVID. Plants has never given anybody SARS. So it just makes sense. It just makes on a logical sense that we were not meant to consume animals.
Yeah. No, for sure. But for me, then the question is, how do you change the mindset of human beings? How do you get people to understand that we could change the world just by eating with a fork instead of a knife?
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Can I give you my idea on how we can actually stop eating animals?
Yeah.
Why should toddlers go to a farm and be taught where their plants come from? But why are those children not taught where their meat comes from?
Yeah.
Take a child to an abattoir and see how many of them will actually still eat meat.
Yeah, no, because
Do it. And that's it. So society is actually hiding away the fact that we are creating fear in animals before we actually slaughter it. It looks beautiful in little packets. Oh yeah, wonderful. The other day I drove past a truck that was selling pork, okay, and these little beautiful little porkies were looking at the sun, and it looked so beautiful with this beautiful farm background. They don't know really what is going on in the background. They don't know the fear and so the absolute emotions all of those animals are going through.
Yeah.
So the solution for me is substitute having to kill animals with a plant-based diet or with a plant product that is better than having to eat animals.
I agree totally. I agree. So here's the thing: the world has sold protein to, industry has sold protein to us, and our understanding of protein obviously is protein from an animal, right? Yes, you do need protein is one of your macronutrients, but what people do not realize is that there's a fiber problem.
Correct. Oh, yes.
We do not consume enough fiber. A human being is a male, grown-up male adult is supposed to consume a minimum 40 grams of fiber, right?
Correct.
I consume about 80 grams of fiber. And that fixes your gut so much because gut health is extremely important. Your gut health actually is great. It's got a direct connection to brain health.
Correct. Yes.
You've got neurons in your gut. And if you do not consume enough fiber, you're actually making your body a hub for disease. So I'm now coming back to the food, the Insta protein. Yes, there's protein. It says Insta protein, but people do not understand. It's not just about the protein.
Correct. Yes.
If we break it down, the fiber content, because it's important. For instance, myself as an endurance athlete, I need the fiber. I need to make sure that, because also where there's fiber, fiber actually is extremely it's interwired to what you call the mitochondrion.
That's right.
Which is where your energy cells are basically where your energy is stored. I mean, if your mitochondria is in good working order, you're not going to get energy issues. Sometimes we've got low energies and do not understand why. We use supplements and then we mess up the gut. So just quickly on that one, touch on that one first.
Well, first of all, if we are looking at the broad-based plant-based eating, there's more fiber in any plant than there is in any animal.
Yeah.
And that's just a given fact.
Yeah.
Now, with Insta protein, we have the nutritional information is just absolutely amazing. For example, we are looking at a 46.8 grams of protein, but we've got a 19.1 grams of fiber. This is water-soluble fiber that you consume, and if you drink water, that binds everything together. It gets expelled.
Yeah.
With Insta protein, for example, we've got 4.6 grams of carbohydrates and very much the same amount of fat.
Yes.
So it is unbelievably high in fiber and high in protein, but very low in carbohydrates and fats.
Yeah.
And that is what people are looking for. People are trying to steer away from carbohydrate-rich food, which unfortunately vegan food or plant-based food is loaded with carbohydrates. Yeah. It is one of those things, but carbohydrates doesn't necessarily mean that it is bad for you either.
Yes.
You do need those carbohydrates for brain function as well. It's very, very important to have that. So, but it is also not necessary to load your entire body with carbohydrates all the time.
Yeah.
So with Insta protein, for example, is a fantastic high protein, high fiber alternative to having to eat very processed food as well.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. I actually appreciate that you're emphasizing on fiber, because that remains our biggest issue.
Yes.
That remains our biggest problem. Irritable bowel syndrome, for instance, if people are not consuming enough fiber, and when you look at not to speak down on other food manufacturers, but I mean they do not stress this enough.
No, they don't.
They do not stress this enough. I mean, we've got a fiber problem. We don't have a protein problem.
Correct.
But the good thing is that the protein that you get from plants is not transported. So you actually get unrecycled protein. It is protein from the source itself.
100%.
Yeah. And what has been your feedback? So for instance, I'll give you great feedback. I use your product. I mean,
good. Thank you.
Yes.
At least I have one loyal client. So
well, also mention the fact that I get sponsored.
Oh yes, that too as well.
Yeah. But I can attest to it that
Sure.
I have, ever since using it, I can tell you my fiber uptake has gone up. It's good. I mean, 80 is minimum what I consume. Sometimes I consume close to 100 grams a day. South Africans, I can tell you for a fact, do not even consume 11 grams of fiber.
Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't.
And that's a problem. That's so not just selling food, but the health aspect of it is important for us to actually. We need to get the message out there that a lot of things a lot of ailments that are there.
Yeah.
Start with the gut microbiome.
That's it.
That is in bad working order. So how do we fix that? I don't think
it's going to be a very difficult thing if we are going to still have to compete against the meat boards and against cheap processed foods where people can actually go to a restaurant and buy a meal for 15 or 20 rand, which is so overly processed it doesn't really mean anything for you. What makes me very sad is that you're actually talking about just that. You have a ready-made or a quick meal or an easy lunch for 25 rand, highly processed sugars, fats, whatever. But for 15 rand, you can make a fantastic vegan meal twice as much, right? And eat unbelievably healthy. But it irritates me that that's the money that goes into the marketing and the advertising of convenient food and quickly fry a piece of chicken and quickly stop at the drive-through and have it. That absolutely is something that we will always be fighting against. Because it is a billion-dollar industry and it is very difficult to change the perception of people.
And I think one of the one of the most notable stereotypes about this lifestyle is that it is an elitist lifestyle. It is an expensive lifestyle. That is an issue.
Yes.
When you tell people about a vegan lifestyle, they associate that with
money.
Lots
of money.
Lots of, which is actually not quite.
It is absolutely untrue. It is completely untrue. Here's the thing: if you're going to eat Beyond Meat burgers, if you're going to eat processed, ready-made meals on a daily basis, if you are going to run into a restaurant, at a plant-based restaurant, and grab a takeaway or whatever, yes, it's going to become expensive. But also very unhealthy. Just remember, being vegan doesn't mean that you are healthy.
Yes.
Okay. Please do not think that. I mean, I make comfort food as a range of products, which is by default not necessarily healthy. Depending on what you're going to do with it, you can make it healthy. Right. But by default, don't think that all vegans are 100% healthy and whatever. So my advice is that you need to stay as raw as possible, as close to the ground as possible. In other words, consume vegetables as raw in its state as what you can. Also, try and grow your own vegetables. I have a vegetable garden. I eat from my own vegetable garden, so therefore it saves me money. B, I know what I'm actually putting into my vegetable garden, so no pesticides or anything like that. And C, it is absolutely the most satisfying thing for your soul to be able to pick your own vegetables and to be able to prepare a meal for your family. So stay away from processed foods, stay as close as possible to natural foods as nature, and then it will not break the bank. It will not break the bank.
So we agree in principle that it's almost impossible to eat 100% whole food, right?
Yes.
So I totally agree with that. This is what I want to get to. So in the in the actual planting of the food, the actual production of the food, there's concerns about seeds being natural in its complete molecular structure. That the seeds we might be getting are broken and not complete. But number two, the issue of pesticides. So can you just quickly touch on those two issues, the issue of seeds and then the pesticide part of it?
Look, the Instaprotein, we have our own farms that we actually grow our own non-GMO certified soya beans on. We are using no pesticides. We are not using any herbicides. And the fertilizers that we are using comes natural from the previous year's crop that we then process back into the soil, so that actually then ferments, becomes fertilizer, and we then replant. Replant our stock. So not We're not using any pesticides or anything like that because we feel that it is not necessary. Soya bean has its own pesticide in any way.
Yes.
There we go. So we don't need to. To use anything like that.
Yeah.
We're not using any fertilizers that is harmful to anybody. Like I said, it is all natural.
Yeah.
And this is what's so wonderful about my product is that we are involved from planting all the way to the table of our products and our production.
Yeah.
So we know exactly on each aspect where we are in the step. If it's harvest time, we are harvesting. We actually then store our own grains where we are then using it from there. So we know that we are not contaminating our grains with anybody else's sources.
Okay, perfect. I think another thing that we didn't mention is the high content of iron in the beans.
Correct, yes.
Because remember, iron is probably the most magnetic mineral. So once you've got enough and natural iron in your system, you actually makes it easy to actually get other minerals into your system because it's the spark plug of the body.
That's correct.
So 90% of the time when people are ill, you find that there is an iron deficiency.
Yep.
Yep. And people confuse heme iron as the iron that the body needs, that's the animal-based iron.
That's correct.
And you actually need iron that is expressed in the form of plant in your body. I mean, that's exactly what keeps animals strong and healthy.
100%.
In animals in the herbivores in the wild, when they get sick, they don't go to the vet. The body has got the ability to self-heal.
Yep.
Because it is equipped. It is equipped with what the body needs, and which is what we have done. We've stepped out of nature. And I think that is why human beings easily a human being can die nearly from a migraine.
Yeah, we broke the laws. We broke the laws of nature.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that vegans actually experience quite a bit is anemia or low energy because of the fact that they are not eating rich iron based foods. And not only into protein, but I mean beetroot. If you eat beetroot or kale or spinach or whatever as fresh as possible, you're going to consume enough iron as well. So there are things that people need to look out when they are going onto a plant-based diet. First of all, these energy levels.
Yes,
right.
Definitely.
Then second of all is your fat intake. Very, very careful with your fat intake because trust me, if you're gonna consume even good fats excessively, you're going to store that fat. Okay, it is just an inevitable fact. So don't think that coconut oil and olive oil you can eat as much of it as what you want. It is just not true.
Okay.
You need to look what you are eating in balance, and do not forget your grains, other grains, beans, legumes, and things like that as well, including fresh fruits as well. Very, very important. And I'll tell you what, the best thing in my life could have happened was when I became vegan, because it has given me the scope of possibilities. What can I do? What else can I make? What else is there out there? And with the internet, it actually has given us the passport to explore all these different ways of eating and different things that we can eat. For example, I have discovered the word the other day, bao, for the first time. I don't know if you know what bao is. Bao is a steamed bun, like you normally get with a Chinese steamed bun that is filled. So bao is basically a steamed bun, but it is folded over and it opens up. And you fold that up with the most beautiful vegetables and things. And when I saw it the other day on YouTube, I immediately had to make bao. Okay, so I went and I got my bao and I made bao for the first time in my life, so I can make bao. And I'll tell you what, it is a beautiful experience to be able to experiment and to experience different foods that you might never in your entire life have had. For example, I don't like tofu. I'm not a tofu fan. I know you like tofu. You love tofu. I cannot stand the no taste of it and the texture. But for example, if you've never tried tempeh before,
tempeh is quite good,
which is fantastic. So, and it is made with exactly the same thing. So it's made with soya beans, and so there are always other ways to actually get your nutrients in if you do not like a specific food or a specific food group as well.
Can we just quickly dive into soy? There's stereotypes around soy. When I first turned vegan, I was told soy will give me man boobies.
And you're gonna cry and like a girl,
and feminize me. And stuff.
But I think it's working. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. So I've seen the opposite effect. I've seen the opposite effect of soy. I drink soy milk. I mean, it's I'm yet to see. If I look in the mirror and my chest is still not hanging.
So you're okay. I
Still intact,
think
yeah.
you're still all right. No,
Yeah,
I think you
yeah.
won't have that issue. So
Yeah.
look, the rap with soy has been generations of bad publicity with soybeans. Okay. First of all, let's quickly have a look at the raw soybean. Yes,
Okay.
there is a natural estrogen in there
Okay.
that is has always been there for millennia.
Okay.
And the study so far, even with Hopkins University, has always been inconclusive with regards to increasing your estrogen levels as a man.
Okay.
That's the soybean itself, right?
Okay.
The second part where we actually process that soybean and into an Insta protein,
Yeah.
people always have this issue that you might actually lose some of the protein aspects of it, which is not true. Okay.
Okay.
My product still has 46.8 grams of protein per 100 grams.
Sure.
If you compare that with chicken breast, that's 27 grams. So nearly half of my product
Yeah.
is double the amount of what chicken has in protein content. All right.
Yeah.
Then the second thing is once we process the soybean, we're not using any chemical extraction methods,
Okay.
which has been traditionally the bad name for soybeans in soya in South Africa. Processed soya.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give you an example. The traditional soybeans that we would normally get from the Far East, we actually they use a Hexian process to extract the protein from the kernel. In other words, they're using solvents to extract that. That is carcinogenic, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you're going to consume that because it doesn't go away.
Okay.
With Insta protein, we are using a mechanical process only. In other words, we are not using any chemicals in the process of making Insta protein.
Okay.
If you look at my ingredients list on my laboratory report, the ingredients list states only one thing: soybeans. That's it. Okay. Absolutely nothing else. And that is what's so wonderful about my product, is the fact that we are so convinced and so motivated with the results that we got from making Insta protein, that we are 100% convinced that our product has no negative effects in only positive nutrient effects. So our product is also quintessential South African. It's never been done anywhere else in the world. We've even invented the process and the machinery right here in South Africa.
Okay.
So it's a secret of how Insta protein is made.
Yeah.
But we are unbelievably proud of the fact that we have a product that will change the way and will change the world in future. We have when we sent our first batch of Insta protein to a laboratory, and we got our results back, and we saw the 46.8 grams of protein and the 19.8 grams of fiber. We were absolutely blown away. And I'll tell you what, from there, people's perception every time that they actually encounter Insta protein has been so positive.
Yeah.
I go to a lot of events and a lot of markets, and I speak to a lot of people about Insta protein specifically. And there a lot of people's perception is, again, soybean. That's absolutely horrible. Now we can't have soya chunks or whatever. And then I tell people that this is not soya chunks. This is not what you're used to. This is something completely different. And when you start explaining to people that you soak it in hot water for 30 seconds, you squeeze the water out, and you have a beautiful product that you can cook with, they start to listen and go, whoa, what is this really?
Yeah.
And once people are starting to get used to it, the market is just starting to grow. I mean, I've had countless examples of people actually buying one packet of Insta protein at a market, and the next time they see me, they would buy 6 or 7 or 12. I mean, I had a client the other day, she bought 1 packet, and when she saw me again, she bought 30 packets from me, because she realizes, hold on, this is good stuff. So I know. That's it. So we're just trying to educate people in terms of the base of soya, that it is not a evil plant. And what Insta protein, the benefits of our product actually is, in not only in our daily lives, but
Yes.
what we are going to do in future would be able to feed people feed people at a very low cost as
Yeah.
well.
Would you consider the option of milk?
We talked. We talked about it. Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about it. At this stage, our capacity we're actually acquiring more land
Okay.
to grow more soybeans.
More soybeans, yeah.
So, but at this stage, I think that we're going to have to focus on instant protein for now,
For now, yeah.
just to be able to get this out on an international footprint,
Yeah.
because we cannot only keep it in South Africa. I think it will be very unfair to have instant protein only available here. We need other people to actually experience what we are experiencing here as well. But yes, it is still possible to have that milk coming
option,
as
yeah.
well. Most definitely, yes.
Look, for me, I actually love the fact that you say you're looking at you're looking at expanding globally, because remember, again, I always look at it from a planet environmental worldview.
That's it.
Sense that you don't only have these problems in South Africa.
Yep.
Planet issues in South Africa. We need to save the planet for our kids.
100%.
It's one thing we plan, we give them, we put aside monies for their future education, but if there's no planet left for them,
100%. I totally
then it's
agree.
pointless. So this then becomes a key contribution towards the whole global response to the issues that you have with the planet.
I totally agree, and it is an issue. It is an issue that we can solve by stop raising animals en masse for consumption.
Yeah.
We are killing the planet, which we only have one of
course,
okay, for the betterment of human beings.
No.
Doesn't make any sense.
Definitely.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I always say, if we take one parasite off this planet, which is human beings, the planet will still survive. Okay, but if we are still going to be here, we are still being a parasite. If you really think about what humans really are, we are populating a organism, a life organism, which is the Earth, to the point that it is busy dying.
Yeah.
And what do parasites do? Exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So, and if we're not changing the perception of what people are thinking in terms of how we are going to go forward in terms of nutrition, we are going to be in serious, serious trouble.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you.
I always say if human beings have got a consciousness, they are conscious that they are human beings.
Yeah.
Then the Earth definitely should have a consciousness that it is the Earth.
Correct.
And we've got microorganisms that live within us. And what if we are those microorganisms to the Earth?
Yep.
Or we are the cells or the atoms to the Earth. And whenever something is wrong within our body, inside, then the body responds in a form of disease or something.
That's correct.
Now, the pandemics that we get from Mother Nature, that is definitely also a response. It's the consciousness. So nutrition is not just a small factor in the bigger scheme of things. It is extremely important that we start looking at nutrition differently. How we produce our food differently. People will most probably say to us, but vegans you've got a factory that takes up land space where there's potential anti-green production methods. We've previously had a discussion on the carbon footprint.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, let's just unpack on that one also, the issue of carbon footprint, because remember, there's going to be resistance to this alternative lifestyle.
Yes.
And they will say, but how different are you? Because if I am in a factory and I am producing meat, and you are in your factory with instant protein, how do I know for the fact that you do not fiddle with the green environment?
Okay. First of all, this is really becoming a very interesting topic for me. Because I'll tell you what. First of all, I haven't killed any animal to eat or to produce my products. Okay, I haven't taken a life. First of all, so to me, taking a life of an animal is just as bad as taking a life of a human being. I'm sorry, this is just my philosophy. So first of all, I'm not killing anything to be able to do that. Okay, I'm planting plants that is sustainable,
Yes.
that will grow year on year on
Yes.
year, which gives me more and greater yields of products than what you would ever with animal products.
Yeah.
Okay, which has a positive impact in the environment. For we are creating oxygen with those plants.
Of course.
Okay,
Of course.
we are also we've invented this beautiful process and this product where we can feed people en masse for cheap, and we can reach the entire world with our products. Okay,
Yeah.
my products, for example, doesn't need refrigeration. So in other words, it doesn't need to go cold storage. It doesn't need to be frozen. I can export and send my products anywhere in the world.
Yep.
Second of all, it is light. Okay, so I can feed 300 people with 10 kilograms of Insta protein. Okay, take 10 kilograms of animal and try and feed 300 people. I dare you. Okay, there's no way you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
All right, we are using very responsible water. For example, water irrigations. For example, soya doesn't need irrigation. We plant the plants. Mother Nature gives us rain in summer. The plants grows. Okay, this year we have had a bumper crop with soybeans, and we are absolutely elated with the fact that we managed to get those crops without having to irrigate or to waste water on our plants as well. With a carbon footprint as well, I'll tell you what, it will be much cheaper to be able to get Insta proteins throughout the world and for people to eat it than having to do it with an animal. It's just that's just a fact.
Definitely. So you've just made my job easy, because the trawlers always come to me and like, but you guys are also part of the whole.
I have a factory. Yes, I've got a food factory. Okay, but my food factory doesn't once again involve in any animals. My food factory is compliant according to what the South African and international legislation is supposed to be. My food factory is also very, very conscious with regards to wastage. As well as their practices, as well as the human rights aspects of the people actually working for us and manufacturing food for us.
Super. Tell me, so the likelihood of chain stores coming on board and collaborating, I mean, it would be nice for me to not drive all the way to the factory.
Yes.
To just go to, I won't mention names, but your mainstream food chains.
That's it.
You actually have it as a product on the shelves.
Good news.
Okay.
1st of August, we will be launching our first retailer national. So we'll actually be able to distribute our food on a national basis throughout the entire country.
Okay.
This year, my focus was on retail, absolutely focused on retail. And we've landed the first retailer. It's taken a long time. I'll tell you what, to get into a retail space is not an easy thing. We had to jump through hoops and over barrels to actually get what we want.
Okay.
All our food products had to go through an entire rigid test of nutritional information, testing, all of those things. The packaging needed to be sorted out, all of that. We've got it. We've done it. So from the 1st of August, from a national point of view, we'll be able to distribute Insta protein and Insta protein products to everybody in the country. Where people will be able to get it. And we're not stopping there. We are also getting on board with other retailers as well this year. So if you follow us, for example, on Facebook or on Instagram, you'll actually be able to be updated with where we are going to be and what retailers we are going to be at. But I'll tell you what, there's some very exciting things within the next couple of months coming. And people will be able to obtain Insta protein throughout the entire country.
Okay,
which is wonderful.
Yes, awesome stuff.
Very good.
That's great. And tell me we are in a COVID year. We're in a pandemic, right? I'm sure it also comes at an opportune time where people are rethinking nutrition. So it would only make sense for an initiative like this to actually gain traction. A lot of people are probably still acting out of fear, but people are becoming more aware.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. People are getting away, and what's beautiful is about it, it's charity. Like they say, charity starts at home.
Yes.
And what we have found is, for example, one of our big target markets are young teenagers between 12 and 18 years old. And they are the influencers a lot of times at home, where they would actually dictate to the parents, listen, I want to go onto a plant-based diet and whatever. And the parents would actually will follow suit. And we have discovered that our sweet spot with our market is between 16 years old and about 45 years old female, where they also make the decisions with what the entire family is eating as well. So we are trying to really get influencers and people actually promoting our products on that level, because it is very important to not waste time and effort into a market that is not really there. But we have seen unbelievable movement, even though with the pandemic, we have seen unbelievable movement with regards to plant-based eating and how people actually are perceiving the entire market in South Africa. I love being in South Africa because we are always following the trends of what is happening in the US and in the European markets. Leaders, but we are followers, so we know what is happening, what is coming our way, and we can actually prepare or anticipate where our market is going to go. But if we have a phenomenal product like Insta-Protein, then we are also in a very privileged position where we are manufacturing in rands and then exporting to different countries. So it's a good time to be vegan this in this day and age. I can guarantee you, it's phenomenal.
There seems to be a gap between your medical practitioners, your nutritionist, and the actual plant-based fraternity, right?
Yes.
Now, for instance, ailments, sickness, disease are a nutritional problem, especially your non-communicable diseases, your chronic ailments, your lifestyle diseases. Rarely do you find nutritionists actually recommending this lifestyle. However, there is a growing trend in the US and Europe, as you mentioned, that we follow trends, where you've got medical doctors who have actually commissioned reports. In China in 1975, when the prime minister died of cancer, when he was diagnosed with cancer, what he did, he commissioned a study that was called the China study, where they took 800,000 people and put them on this experiment. One of the doctors was now a doctor who speaks boldly about this lifestyle, Dr. Colin T. Campbell and Dr. Esselstyn. They actually published a book called The China Study. But what he did was to make sure that we need to understand that we're not just going to go on mass production of medicine. Whereas, what if this cancer that he has is a nutritional problem? Unfortunately, he died a year before the study was commissioned. But it actually shows that there is a link between food and cancer. Not just cancer. I mean, again, Dr. Colin T. Campbell again, when the Nazis, he actually made quite a very interesting discovery where when the Nazis invaded Norway, during World War II, they took away their livestock. So the Norwegian people were actually forced to eat plant-based foods. What happened? Coronary artery disease declined drastically, until the end of the war. And when the Nazis left that area, and then they took control of the livestock again,
the cholesterol went up.
The curve went up and up and up and up. And again, this is proof that this lifestyle is the reason why we have, consuming animal products. Is the reason why people are ill
and have diseases.
Yes, and in South Africa, how do we then get to that level where the US and the European guys are, even in Asia now, They've actually, for instance, I think there was a bold move by the Chinese Prime Minister at the time who said, let's commission a study.
Mm. Mm.
Let's go out there and then it's called the China study. In South Africa, the problem is we are still people who are obsessed with treatment.
Correct.
How do we
Yes.
treat things?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
don't talk about cure,
Correct.
and we don't emphasize the importance of nutrition in this.
Mhm.
How do we then undo this?
Yeah, look, it's very it's very strange that people cannot see that piece of steak that you are eating,
Yeah.
and my high cholesterol they are correlated.
Yeah.
People don't want to have that association that what I'm eating is making me sick. Okay, people don't want that.
Yeah.
Although they know it's bad for them.
Yeah.
Although they know, my doctor said to me, "Don't eat meat; it's going to
Yeah.
give me a heart attack." Okay, they still will not stop eating animals
Yeah.
unless we educate people and give them the benefits
Yeah.
of what plant-based eating is over
Yeah.
eating an animal or a meat diet. It's going to take some time. I'll tell you what, it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
We are a flesh-eating nation, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and South Africans traditionally love their meat.
Yeah.
But there is a very fast awakening of what we are doing environmentally
Yes.
and physically to ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is why it is such a beautiful golden time to actually be in this business of plant-based eating or manufacturing, because I'll tell you what, people are starting to realize that animals are actually killing us slowly but surely.
Yeah. The laws of nature.
That's
The laws of nature. They're bound to.
That's correct.
You don't kill and not get killed, even if you're not the one at the slaughterhouse, but you're eating what was killed.
That's most definitely.
And people always say, but plants are also being killed. Like, but plants don't have receptors, and plants are alive. You're eating electric foods.
You get those.
You're eating electric foods. Your body gets electrified further because your body is in ignition mode, like you're igniting.
That's correct.
Your body. Yeah, but look, it's gonna take a while. I think we must not get tired. We must just keep pushing. I must say, it's a bold move that you've taken. I mean, people could easily say no, but we're not interested. If you open a butchery, trust me, you would, whatever you've had to put in now in your plant-based business, if you started a butchery, you only have to do half of it.
Yeah.
Which
I still don't care. I would work my fingers off to be able to advocate plant-based eating and the health benefits of it.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, what we've done, for example, with Interprotein is I took this beautiful base product and we started processing this into different other things. For example, I mean, we started making kebabs. Right, where you have this beautiful chunks of kebabs that you can put on a braai. So socially, you are now starting to become part of the accepted group because your plant doesn't look only like a mealie or a mushroom, but your plants actually gets an association with, hey, this looks like meat. Okay, we have done, for example, biltong. Right, and we trademarked the name biltong as well. So with Interprotein, we make biltong, and the reaction of especially the white Afrikaner men tasting it for the first time, and they go, this is not possible. This is impossible. So biltong at this stage, one of my biggest and one of my fastest movers, because of the fact that there is not a very nice alternative out there. And also with the texture and the fibers and things of Interprotein, it is probably going to be as close as biltong as what you're going to get.
No, for sure.
And then, we've done other things as well. I mean, we do burger patties, like I said, we do a mince, and we do all of those things that we are actually, all of that will then be available from the 1st of August in all the retailers as well. So an entire range of our products will actually be available.
No, perfect stuff.
We're looking forward to that.
Perfect stuff. And where do people get hold of Herman?
Well, you can go onto my website. It's www.theparttimevegan.co.za, or you can go onto my social pages, which is the Part-Time Vegan 333, so 333s, either Instagram or Facebook. Or you can contact me on 071 984 5109. And you can just we can have a chat on the phone as well. So those are the main contacts that you will be able
Yeah.
to get hold of me.
No, thanks a lot, Herman. Thank you for your
very
time.
much.
And I
It's a
think,
pleasure.
I think we've broadened the conversation. We didn't just talk about, we've the actual business itself, but
Absolutely.
we've covered enough aspects. And I think, look, all in good time. People will, will start listening to the convo. We're having a different conversation. The stereotypes are getting
That's it.
broken down.
If we can change one person's perception every day, I will be a happy man.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
My job is not here to advocate plant-based eating or whatever,
Yeah.
but it is a choice that you need to make yourself. But it is a choice that will have an impact for the rest of your life and
Definitely.
generations to come as well.
Oh yes, thank you.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
Yeah, thank you. With
It's a
that,
pleasure.
thank you. With that, we bow out. That was Herman Kruger, the owner of the Part-Time Vegan. This is Plant Power with mawethu. Thank you. Thank you very much for tuning in.
We can only put out what we put in. Plant Power with mawethu will show you the chemistry of life through food that goes from the ground to the body.